This is not going to be a studio quality video, okay? This is going to be down and dirty because I've only got a few minutes, but I'm going to show you how I made that Pete the Cat balloon. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need are some 5-inch rounds, and we're going to need a quad of them. The size is not super critical, as long as they're all for the same size. I only got 4 of these, so I'm not going to bust out my precision air for 4 rounds. Alright, put these together and make a quad. Okay? And then I'm getting out a 660. You could use if you're using Qualitex balloons, this would be like a 640. I like these nice big 660s, but that has more to do with twisting, and what I do with them as twisters rather than as a decorator. Though they do have the 660 with the little Linkaloon tab on them, which is pretty freaking sweet. Let me get a pair of scissors here. Here we go. So I'm just cutting this off to make it easier to tie. Like this. Okay, so we got, this is going to be the body. Alright, now, if you're not into twisting, this next part is probably going to be the hardest part for you. So I have a 360. If this is Qualitex, this would be a 350. And I'm going to fill this thing up with acting here. Let me get another one. Alright, that's more like it. I'm going to fill this up most of the way. Alright, so if you're not used to twisting, I'm going to try to make this as simple as I can. I'm just going to kind of mush this out a little bit. Alright, I'm going to fold it over so that I find like a halfway point. You see that? Now I know these two pieces are these two sections are the same length. I'm going to twist it. See how I'm going to exaggerate the movement here. See how I'm twisting this. Now that creates a little division, but I can't let go of either end of this because it'll just untwist if I let go of that. So now these two ends are. This is now 2 sections the same length. These 2 ends I'm going to tie together. Alright, and that makes kind of an oval shape with a pinch in each end. Alright, now I still want to divide this again. So I'm going to fold it over pretty much like what I did last time. You see that right here? And I'm going to kind of use my body to hold it. See, like this. And then I'm going to take this free hand and I'm going to grab this thing like that. See, and see now I've got 4 sections. They're all the same size. Alright, I can grab this and twist, and now I've got this shape right here. Okay, 4 sections all roughly the same size. If it's not perfect, it doesn't matter because that's all going to work out in the wash. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, you see these are connected at the top and the bottom, right? There's an open area in the middle. I'm going to take one of these 2 balloons and I'm going to push it through this hole. And that creates this sort of football shape here. You see that? And I'm just going to kind of twist it around a little bit to kind of lock it in place. Now, if you were looking at the picture of Pete the Cat on my website, then you recognize this shape, right? This is his head. All right? So now what I need is the ears. The ears, I made them out of 260s, I believe, but you could make them out of 360s. And for that matter, this section right here, You could make this out of 260s as well. It just wouldn't be quite so thick. And if you did, my recommendation is make sure you inflate it almost the whole way, because you're going to need that length in that case. All right, so the ears. All you're going to need for the ears, there's actually an easier way to do this if you're a twister, but a quicker way that uses less balloons. I'm going to show you just a simple way to do it that'll use more balloons, but it'll be less work. All right, so what I did was I inflated the balloon, and then I twisted it towards the end rather than have like a little nozzle here. See how that looks a lot better? I just grabbed it and I let all of the air out except for just the very end like this. And now I just got myself a nice little balloon like that. But you could do any kind of a scrap or whatever. All right, I'm going to do that again with another 260. Oh, here we go. Sorry, everything looks so haphazard. I'm just doing this in the middle of the night for me. All right. Now, I want them to be the same length. I probably did that too quick, so I'm going to do it a little bit simpler. I haven't tied it. I'm just holding on to it here. I want them to be the same length here, right? All right, so I'm just grabbing it with my fingers and twisting. All right, and if I hold this part and let go where it's not tied, I get that. This part right here can be tied. Okay, now, if you take this will just tuck in here. Like that. And that gives you your ear, right? And you could tie a knot here or just sort of friction fit it like I did. See, there's one ear right here. Let's put in another one. Just kind of wrap it around a little bit here. Cut off the extra. Alright, now we need Pete's nose, which is incredibly difficult to make. This is the hardest part right here. You're going to take a white round and you're going to put some air in it. That's it. I know, smart aleck. Okay, so that's your nose. Actually, looking at the picture, I probably made the nose a little bit smaller to look more like the book. So actually, let me do that again. Yes, I make a joke about the easy part, and then that's the part that I screw up. Once again, I'm not trying to make a professional balloon video here, so just bear with me. Now, actually, we're going to use this little bit here, so don't trim this off. This is going to be important. Okay, so the only thing that we have left now is the eyes. You could use two yellow rounds, right? If you want to keep it simple. But what I am going to do is kind of like what we did before, except because I am not going to have the ends on this, I'm not worried about pushing all the way to the end in this case, because we're going to tie both of these, so I'm not worried about that. So I've got this kind of a deal going on here, and notice that I tied a knot right here too, so not on both ends. So I can even, cut this off here because there's a knot. All right. So what I want to do is I want to twist it right in the middle. That gives me two bubbles. Like I said before, if I let go of it, it comes loose. See that right there? Okay. So luckily we have an attachment point on the sides. So if this comes around like so, I really recommend doing this at least once before you go on to your actual decor job, because otherwise you might find yourself in a bind. So there's his eyes. Now I drew on them with marker. I'm not sure if I have one right here. Let me see. Just with a Sharpie. Yes, I do have one. I did something, if I remember right, the books kind of look like a sort of a V, so I did something kind of like so, like that, okay? And then bear in mind that if you screw it up, don't pull it out. You can turn this around, see, and get rid of it, or you can. So you've got you could do it on the back if you mess it up. Okay, so you know we said we were going to need this. Okay, so here's the nose. This nose is also going to give us an attachment point. You see that right there? That is going to get tied to the nut at the top of the 660. You could, if you're really careful, just cut these 660s in half. I usually worry more about the time that it takes to do something. These balloons are actually different manufacturer than these. That's why there's a little bit different color, a little bit of a color difference there. All right, now let me show you one more thing on the tail. So, once again, whenever you can, you want the nice end without the nozzle to be used because it looks so much better than the nozzle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the air out of it again. This is still probably a bit long, so I'm going to do it right about here. See how much nicer that looks. Okay, so tie this in. You're going to trim off the extra, of course. You don't want to put this quad down on another blue because then these won't look like his feet, right? So if you look at all the pictures on my website, the Pete the Cat, he's sitting on a yellow balloon, so these blue ones could actually be part of his feet. All right, now, the other thing that you'll see is that Pete's tail has sort of bends in it. This might be old news to you, but if it isn't, I want to show it to you because it's a neat trick. Okay, so if you take and fold the balloon over and just kind of pinch it, just kind of squeeze it a little bit, it'll hold that shape. See, like that. As a matter of fact, if you really want a sharp one, you could do something kind of like that, and you end up with like a really sharp one. And in the books, it's not just a curved tail; it's kind of jointy. So this gives you. And you can kind of work with it after the fact. So this gives you a general idea of how I did the Pete the Cat event, and I'll kind of zoom in so you can see the face. All this can be kind of adjusted after the fact. So it's a little sloppy right now, but you can kind of straighten it out and adjust it however you want. There's the face. All right. There's the body and tail. And that's how I did it. There's probably tons of different ways you could make him, but this is how I made him. All right. Good luck with your event, and have a great night.